What's going on, guys? UFC Vegas 44 recap, Font versus Aldo. Fun card top to bottom, supposed to be 15 fights, and then I think the UFC knew this was going to happen. Couple gets scratched late, but I mean, we talked about it on the preview show. We talked about it in the lead up. We talked about it when I tweeted out the official plays. This was going to be a landmine card right from the get-go. It looked like it was going to be heavy on the underdogs. You just had to make sure you were on the right side of which dogs those were going to be. Flirted with the idea of not parlaying, but just span betting an individual play on each underdog. Didn't end up doing it, but was actually probably the move in the end. Top ticket cash, and because it had Aldo and Cape, it ended up playing, I think, plus 203. Had Menafield gotten that decision, then we're hitting that 6-1 as well, and all of a sudden it's a great night. Unfortunately, you got to get some bounces, and we didn't get the ones required. So on the outside looking in, absolutely terrible night. The picks were not all that accurate. On the other side of things, did hit the top ticket, broke even on that side of things. Parlays, not so good, but in a different world, again, we get a bounce here and there. Could have been a lot better. Talking about where we went wrong, let's start right from the very get-go with Vince Morales versus Louis Smolka. Tough to get a read sometimes when you talk about two guys and what they bring to the table and their style, and some things you just throw out right away. So in Louis Smolka's case, I throw out the ability that he's going to get knocked out, especially in the first round. Why? He's never been knocked out. He's had a 10-year pro career. He's fought in the current champion, Brandon Moreno. He's fought in 2 or 3 title challengers. He's durable. He's a durable guy. He's got a good chin. He's got that Hawaiian grit to him. And if anything, he's going to lose this fight on volume for Morales, maybe some pressure from Morales, grinding him up against the cage. Who knows? Maybe even a takedown in the mix. Probably not, but who knows? But to say he's going to get knocked out in the first round, didn't see that one coming at all. Flip side of that to Morales, he's got 1 knockout win in the last 5 years. All of his wins in the UFC are decision. He generally loses in the UFC. It tends to also be by decision. And it's not discrediting him as a fighter. Just, again, I didn't see him just clocking him with a shot over the top and knocking him out. So if the fight was competitive to start out, I think that Morales was coming out with the volume. Smolka, not a great athlete, I don't think. His footwork's not very good. He throws out a lot of lazy punches that can get countered over the top. But even then, if he's going to go punch for punch, and this thing stretches over 15 minutes, could be close, could be competitive. Smolka could win this fight, but overhand knocks him out, and that's the end of it. So Smolka was, I believe, like a -190. He was a 2-1 favorite. A couple of people hit me up saying they didn't like Manel Kape on the top line. Didn't like Aldo either, but at least that set up the head-to-head opportunity. But people like Smolka. I think a lot of people were using Smolka high up. You can rebuild. He's the first fight on the card, but it's a terrible way to start out for a lot of people. And in my case, I think I had him on the 3rd line, so terrible start for me as well. But this is just not the way I saw it going down. An overhand right, knocking him out in the first round. So, I mean, tough beat. I don't know if the read was wrong or we got a bad bounce here, but it was not the start you want. Claudio Puelles versus Chris Gruetzemacher. Here's another bad one, but Chris Gruetzemacher was a slight underdog. I thought that at underdog money, he warranted a shot. I mean, we know that he's got deep cardio. He's coming off a 2-fight winning streak. And that last fight with Rafa Garcia, you saw, I mean, he's got a good pressure game. The striking is not super technical, but the guy's a junkyard dog. He's in your face. He's fighting the whole time. This is just a bad performance from him top to bottom. He looked old. He looked really old. Claudio Puelles cannot strike. We know that. So his path to victory was going to be getting this fight to the ground. And in that first round, Gruetzemacher, even knowing this, allowed, like even DC, the commentary team is laughing at Puelles, like, holy shit, what a bad takedown attempt that was. And yet it gets him down. I mean, easy money on the takedown. Chris Gruetzemacher then just proceeds to have a closed guard. He's not even trying to get up. And loses the first round. I mean, mostly just lying off his back. It's a bad first round for Chris Gruetzemacher. Second round, he's coming on a lot better. I mean, he stuffs the takedown attempts. He stuffs the initial attempt, ends up on top. Now he's on top, does no ground and pound, doesn't advance his position, looks slow. This is a guy that's been a pro for like 15 years. He's trained at the MMA lab in Arizona. He's trained at American Top Team in South Florida. He wasn't training at either of those gyms for this fight, and I think that was by my big mistake in hindsight in picking him, but he looked fucking awful, man. So second round, once Puelles reversed, got back up, Puelles kicked his ass standing for the last 2 minutes of the round. And I think Puelles actually stole back the second round as well. Like, just a bum effort. And then in the third round, by the graces of the gods, if for whatever reason Chris Gruetzemacher was awarded that second round because of that 2 minutes of abysmal top control, well, then it's 1-1. Let's fight for this thing in the third. Gruetzemacher actually started off pretty well. He's landing the combinations. He's backing up. He landed a couple elbows. He was fighting that dirty fight with the forward pressure like he did against Rafa that we expected out of him. He stuffs the takedowns. Again, he ends up on top. And then knee bar attempt number 1. He gets out of it, sticks himself right into knee bar attempt number 2, and then that one was tight. Yeah, so I'm not saying he quit. His leg was otherwise going to snap. So had to tap, but he put himself in a bad position. He fought a terrible game plan. I thought he was down 2-0 going into the third. The third was his best round until he got himself submitted. So, you know, he's on a 2-fight winning streak prior to this loss. You can't cut him, but that's low-level shit, man. Like, he's a gatekeeper for Contender Series guys at this point, because it's either if you beat him, then yeah, you deserve to be in the UFC. If you lose to him, chances are you are extremely limited. Or it was just a bad night. I don't know, but he's a little bit older now and just looked awful. Plus, I can't take completely away from him. He was landing a pretty decent high kick in there, had a lot of good snap. I mean, it was blocked, but you could tell there was a lot of power. He was throwing that straight left hand. His wrestling looked unbelievably shit, so you can't give him props on that one. Striking did look a little bit better. His ground game, obviously his top control in the first round was pretty good. And in the third round, going for that knee bar, a move that's not used very often. That's the second knee bar finish he's had in the UFC. That's got to be a record. I don't think anybody else has had 2 knee bars, let alone 2 third-round knee bars. And he's young, so he's developing. He's getting better. He's at a good camp. You can see some improvements out of Claudio Puelles. Was this a great performance? No, but it was a building block. And for Grutzmacher, right, he really did blow it for himself. So 0-2 to start the night. William Knight, Alonzo Menafield. I'm too high up on Alonzo Menafield. I got him on my second line. I think that he's going to be able to stuff William Knight's shots. I think that he's going to end up being the better striker. And he fought 3 rounds against Sam Alvey his last time out. Honestly, Alonzo Menafield should win this fight. He's going to win this fight. First round, I mean, I think both guys come in with a real measured approach. I thought Menafield was likely doing the better work. He shot the takedown early, but then Thick Willie just nails him with a beauty shot, wobbles him, puts him down. He recovers right away, but 10-second clapper goes. I'm not going to say saved by the bell. It looked like he had recovered. But my God, what if there's another minute or 2 left? Thick Willie ain't going nowhere, and you're discombobulated. You don't quite know where you're at. He's probably going to go out there and put the job away. So we're kind of, in some regard, maybe helped out by the bell. Not a good start. He loses the first round. Not a 10-8 round, because I thought he was doing well until he got clipped. But still, we've lost the first round. Willie's gassed, man. For a guy that carries that much muscle, name me a guy that jacked who can fight. I guess Jared Cannonier's cardio is not terrible. All I'm saying is you got that much muscle, chances are your cardio is not all that good. And in Willie's case, that's exactly it. He just started backing up. He was throwing absolutely nothing. Menafield had a measured approach, but he started using his jab a lot more, which is a weapon he just wasn't utilizing. You got that big of a reach advantage, you need to jab. But all the same, he's jabbing more in the second. He's landing the right hand in the second, couple of decent leg kicks. This is a 1-1 going into the third. Willie's completely gassed out. Menafield doesn't look like he's completely fresh, but we got a little more cardio. We have the striking edge. This is our fight to win. Third round, he comes out. Surely they know it's a 1-1. Surely they've explained to him. Saif Saud would have certainly said, you lost the first round, you got knocked down. You've won the second round, superior striking. It's in it to win it for the third. Nothing really happens in the beginning of the third round. It's not like either guy had a striking edge, maybe slight edge towards Menafield, I suppose. And then he just spam clinches him right up against the cage. He's warned multiple times about stalling, but it doesn't matter. He's not landing shit. But here's my argument here. I'm not sour grapes. It was a close fight. Could have gone either way. Didn't go our way. Here's my gripe here, is that for 4.5 minutes, Alonzo Menafield does nothing. But he's the one that's pressing him up against the cage. He has the advantageous position. But we can all agree that nothing happens for 4.5 minutes. They separate, and for like 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds at most, William Knight just starts running forward and just chucking bombs. How many of those bombs landed? I mean, he was swinging at air. It was aesthetically pleasing, right? Big Jack guy is moving forward, and he's swinging bombs. Menafield looks, he looks tired. Looks like he's running away. But I don't know. He had the first 4.5 minutes of the round. It wasn't like Knight rocked him. It wasn't like Knight landed some big shot that turned the course. He swung at him for 30 seconds, glanced him with a couple okay punches. A couple got through, let's say. Was that 30-second burst of nothing, right? Did that overdo the 4.5 minutes of nothing? I get it was nothing either side. It was a terrible round. Menafield took his foot off the gas. He fought stupid. He needed to do it in reverse. He needed to come out and strike for the first 2-3 minutes. Do the same thing he did in the second. Stay at range, pump the jab, use the right hand. Willie's going to get desperate. Minute and a half left. That point, they're going to call to him, there's only a minute left, go. And William Knight's going to explode, right? He's waiting for it. He did it in the first round. He did a great job of avoiding it in the second, but he tried. In the third, he's going to do it. Then when there's a minute left, when there's 2 minutes left, spam clinch into the cage. Instead, he spam clinched for the first 4 minutes, which, as we all know, the referees don't fucking know what happens in the first 4 minutes. They only know what happens in the last minute. And the last minute was Thick Willie, a menacing son of a bitch, coming forward, chucking bombs, looks good. All 3 judges gave that third round as well. Tonight, of course, they gave him the first round, 1 and 3. Jimenez loses. So, yeah, I'm not sour about it. I thought we won. I thought we should have gotten the nod. And had we gotten the nod, then this ends up being a really good night. But these are the variances in MMA. You know, sometimes you get a good bounce. Sometimes you don't get a good bounce. I'm going to chalk this one up to another bad bounce. Cheyenne Vlismas versus Mallory Martin. We did the previous show. We talked about Vlismas and just nasty lung infection from COVID, and she's on an inhaler, and there's 2 weeks to this fight. She's talking about her just scrap mentality, and none of that is a vote of confidence. But then, yeah, again, you just keep looking at the tape, and Mallory Martin looked a lot better in this fight than she had in her previous fights, but she's looked real bad in the UFC, I think. I think when you look at her fight with Verna Jandronova, her debut, she gets taken down by very slow takedown attempts, easy money, shows no offense, terrible performance, gets choked out. Her second fight with Hannah Cifers, the one that she wins, she got dropped hard by Hannah Cifers, almost knocked out at the end of the first round, rallies back in the second. And then to get armbarred from guard by Polyana Viana, who's on a bit of a roll, I get, but armbar from guard against a limited level of opposition. You know, COVID or not, man, Vlisma's going to come in with that just scrap mentality, and she's going to throw down. And her cardio actually looked really good considering all the problems that we said that she might have. The narrative of she could have her lungs affected. Yeah, she just kept fighting the entire time. And for Mallory Martin, did a really good job of just, you know, coming forward and pressuring, but she was on the short end of most of the punches. She was getting out volumed, and Vlismas did an excellent job of using her footwork, moving laterally, staying out of range, and just outpointing her. She would also throw three punch combinations, but it was 2 punch and a kick, 2 punch and a kick. She'd come in, 2 punches and a kick. That's going to look better, right? Even if the 2 punches are blocked, it has Mallory Martin working backwards. Her hands are out from blocking 2 punches, kick to the body. That kick to the body seemed to be the most effective weapon throughout. Mallory Martin, meanwhile, was just going to track her down and land an overhand, maybe a 1-2 at best. And so it was definitely Vlisma's. I wouldn't say great performance. Again, I think you were operating against someone who was a little bit lower level, and you could have put a bit of a statement on this, let's say. But hey, man, she's coming off COVID 2 weeks ago. She fought a hard 15. Her skills look good. Combination looked good. Her overall output looked good. Is she a contender in this division? Absolutely not. But she's full-time in Las Vegas. If there was some type of toxicity going on between her and JP Buys that was holding her back, it's no longer there. Maybe that just like frees her mind up and allows her to realize some of her potential. I liked what I saw out of her, but she's still got a long ways to go. But it's a solid victory nonetheless. Brian Barberena versus Darian Weeks. Should have obviously went Brian Barberena. Did end up putting Weeks right on the end of the PRP. This is a who knows. Brian Barberena is not the same guy he used to be. And with Weeks, he comes in with very limited experience and coming in on short notice. But again, when you watch the tape, it's hard to decipher, right? He's fighting a guy that's 3-4, but he looks like $1 million. Now, how much of that is he's fighting a guy that's 3-4? Probably a lot. How much of that is this guy's not all that bad? I mean, it looks like his mechanics are pretty solid. He's a 1-1 pro boxer. And I don't know what his wrestling credentials are like, but I've seen him go on the record for 2 or 3 fights now claiming he's a wrestler. He doesn't even claim to be a boxer. He says, you know, I'm a wrestler. I have a wrestling advantage here. I know how to wrestle. Okay, fair enough. There's some stuff that you can like out of him, and it's mostly I'm trying to fade Brian Barberena, I think. Brian Barberena was the rightful winner of this fight, but Weeks impressed me, man. Give this guy a full cam. God damn. He was supposed to be on the Contender Series 3 months ago, but he got COVID and pulled out, and then they just threw him to the wolves, realistically. Brian Barberena's fought multiple high-level guys. He's fighting – his experience is off the charts. You know, he's got a lot of wins in the UFC. This is your debut on short notice. Like, that's a tough fight, no doubt about it. But Weeks looked good pretty much all around. The only thing that let him up is that maybe because it was such short notice, he just didn't have the ability to continue on with that pace. In the first round, his strikes were landing pretty good. His wrestling looked pretty good. He was able to get Brian Barberena down. His top game definitely needs work. His jiu-jitsu is not all that good. Once he would get Brian down, it was 3 seconds at most, and Brian would just scramble and get back up every time. It was nice that he was able to gauge the entries. It was nice that he was able to get Brian down, but Brian's takedown defense is shit. Not holding him down was just exerting energy because the judges weren't scoring you anything for it. And again, it was just exerting, holding him down. I thought this guy landed the better punches. I thought he was landing crisp, clean. He rocked Brian Barberena a few times. But Brian was moving forward, and he was throwing a lot more punches. And you could see that Weeks' his body language, that he was just tired. He was fatiguing. And so all of a sudden, he would still throw. Dude never stopped throwing. This is a hell of a scrap. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, he gave a great account of himself. But I did agree that Brian Barberena was just, you know, breaking him ever so slightly, getting to him, moving him backwards, landing the more volume. And whenever he would crack Brian, well, credit to him, he got wobbled a couple times, but then he would just get right back in his face. Did some excellent work. So what do you do with Brian Barberena? So, oh, this is a solid win. A solid win over a guy that was 5-0. 5-0. It was a 1-1 pro boxer, and you got taken down by him 4 times. And he took the fight on a week's notice, and you barely squeaked by him. Like, he won, don't get me wrong, but Weeks gave a hell of a show, man. Like, he put on a great performance considering all the obstacles he was running. And he's a 5-0. What were we expecting out of him? He delivered. It was just Brian was the better man. But who does Brian fight next, right? The Matt Brown fight makes sense because they were both older guys. But you give him anybody better than a Darian Weeks, he's losing that fight. Coming off a loss to Jason Witt, that represents a really low level of the division. And they get that he's a fan favorite and he's fun. And you get fight of the night instead of Brian Barberena. But you got to match him up accordingly. Don't get him hurt. And based on that Darian Weeks fight, someone even slightly better than that is probably going to hurt this guy. Weeks, meanwhile, give him a full camp, not a weeks on a week. And give him a full camp. Give him someone that's not Brian Barberena. Give him a fellow debuting guy. Give him someone who's got a 1-1 record in the UFC, a 1-2 record. Somebody limited. Shit, man, I liked what I saw out of him. So maybe there's something there. Manel Kape versus Olga Zumagulov. Kape ends up being top ticket guy. Now, I did take some flack for that as well. He has not exactly been the most outstanding guy so far in his 3 UFC fights. Did win his last fight against Cody Osborne with the flying knee, but didn't really look good until he landed the flying knee. The fight with Matus Nicolau, I thought he won, but he didn't really pull the trigger. And then his debut against Pantoja could have easily won. Well, not easily. He could have won, but again, just no volume. My thing is, when he came over from Ryzen, he gets the Pantoja fight, really tough fight, and he could have won. Just didn't do enough. The Matus Nicolau fight does a little more, and I thought he did win, but it still wasn't enough. The Cody Osborne fight, well, he did enough. He knocked him out in the first round with a flying knee. You can see the progression. Like, he was touted when he came over from Ryzen because the guy bangs. He's got big power in his hands for a flyweight, and he's got really, really quick hand speed. He's going to be a problem for a lot of the guys standing. He's also a BJJ brown belt. He's not totally lost on the ground. And in Ryzen, he got to wear wrestling shoes. Probably helps out a little bit, but he's physically very strong. His takedown defense is not terrible. You saw him take down Pantoja a couple times, like big muscular slams. Like, there's a lot to work with. It's the ring IQ. It's the game plan. He's got to be able to put it all on together. And then the lucky thing for him is that Olga Zumagulov, he's a pressure fighter. He's wild, he's reckless, and he likes to pressure. He was going to come at Manel Kape, and that's when you'd be able to see the best of Manel Kape. Because Pantoja looked to counterpunch, Matus Nicolau looked to counterpunch. Cody Osborne tried to scrap him and got knocked out in the first round. Zalgas tried to scrap him, and he got knocked out in the first round. So I thought Kape would win a decision, to be honest with you, but whatever. I'll take it. This night has not been going good. Kape's on the top ticket. A lot of people didn't have faith in him. I'll take it. I'll take the first round knockout. Sure. Zalgas did clip him early. He was giving a good account of himself, but you could just see in real time. It's like if you took a Muay Thai champion and you put him in a bar fight, the guy fighting him in the bar could do decent in theory because it's only going to last 30 seconds. A hockey fighter, that's a better example. Okay, you got a hockey fighter. He's an enforcer, plays in the NHL, and he's going to take on this dude that's a Lumpini Stadium champion in Muay Thai. Well, this is a walk in the park for the Muay Thai champion, right? Well, maybe not, because it's a 30-second fight. So this dude's just going to grab a hold of you and then fill your face in as hard as he can and as fast as he can for 20 seconds. And then right as you're about to start, oh, he's tired, or you're about to count it, the fight's over. They break it up. They pull you off of him. Zalgas had success bum rushing him. But the longer this thing was going to go, the guy with the speed advantage and the power advantage and the accuracy advantage was eventually going to hit him. He just leaves too many openings. You can't be that wild and reckless and then fight for a prolonged period of time against a sniper. And Manel proved to be a sniper. Was the line a little wide? It was. Well, he didn't make it look like it. Should have been a 10,000 favorite once it plays out. But no, I mean, I didn't agree with the line going in. It's just this was a very, very difficult card, and we had to put a little bit of faith in him. And thankfully, he prevailed. Dusko Todorovic versus Maki Pitolo. Here's another shot. I thought the underdog made a lot of sense. Maki Pitolo, I think, has got the boxing advantage here. He's been, again, full-time of Las Vegas. He's been putting some good work in. He physically looked in okay shape. But the guy is just a bonehead, man. He fights bonehead game plans, bad decision-making. Of course, I did side with him. My own fault. But you have a striking advantage, man. You know you can knock this guy out. Dusko's head's straight up in the air. He's very hittable. You've seen his last 2 fights. Like, this is the time to go out there and capitalize on him. He's got weird movement. And you call him coconut bombs. Well, you know why? Because he's got heavy hands. He's got decent boxing. He's going to have that advantage. I thought he was up 2 rounds against Julian Marquez. In his last fight, unfortunately, he's got bad cardio. He's got a bad game plan. Bad grappling. And so this just makes it even more suspect, is that he's beating Dusko Todorovic. He's doing good work. And then he goes for a fucking guillotine choke. And then just turns the tide of the fight for himself. Now Dusko's on top. Now once Dusko's on top, you realize that Maki Pitolo has two things going against him when he's on his back. One, he's a bad grappler, so he's not gonna improve his position. It's only gonna get worse from here. Two, I'm not gonna outright call him a quitter because it's not like I'm a pro fighter, but he doesn't have the heart. He doesn't have the heart of a champion. You know why we love Nate Landwehr? You know why we love Darren Elkins? You know why we love even the Brian Ortegas of the world? Because 100% they're going to fight for your dollar. They're going to go out there. They're going to leave it all hanging. They're going to do anything necessary to secure the victory. You're going to bet. Look at that Spike Carlisle fight from Friday. If you happen to watch it, like, holy fuck, man. Props to this guy. He's done. He's running on fumes, and he's in a rear naked choke. It's a no-hook rear naked choke, and most guys would just tap it real deep. And he fights to the death to survive that second round, to come in as a zombie in the third round and still got that rear naked choke win. Even if he's not super skilled, he's gonna give everything he's got. Maki doesn't have that. He doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. I think he'd be good in Bellator. I think he'd be the kind of guy that might win a fight in PFL, but then ultimately lose in like the semifinals or whatever the hell season they're doing. But the UFC is supposed to be the best in the world, right? It's supposed to be heart of a champion, and he just doesn't got it. Dusko, meanwhile, he's got heart, right? He's got his head still way up in the air. You know, you can knock him out, but he's going to keep giving you his best effort. And as soon as he got this fight to the ground, the commentary team did mention it, which I wasn't fully aware of, is that he's a BJJ black belt. Didn't really know it, but he looked good when he got on the ground. I'll give him that. So it was easy money in the bank if you were a Dusko Todorovic better. Unfortunately, I went with Pitolo lower on. I thought the dogs would be barking on this card, and I'll be honest, till this, even Mickey Gall losing the next fight, they weren't really barking. It's how the card finished. The end of the main card is kind of things where things really heated up. Football fans, who's ready to score some free bets? Now you can when you bet on any NFL game this week with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers who bet just $1 on either team to score can win $100 in free bets. When that team scores, you score. If Sportsbook is not available in your state yet, DraftKings will not leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes for their very first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code DOP, and bet just $1 on either team to score, and you win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with the promo code DOP this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older, New Jersey, Indiana, and Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum of a $5 deposit, $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So moving on, we got Alex Morona, Mickey Gall. I'll flat out lay this one as a bad read. Not a bad read in the sense that we talked about it on the previous show, and it was just like, why would you take Mickey Gall? You'd have to purely go with the narrative that this guy's making improvements. It was a low-end confidence pick, but it was still a bad read in that I did take Mickey Gall. You know, I did end up going with him. Brandon Moreno. I rewatched the David Zawada fight, and at the end of the third round, Zawada just gets a really easy takedown on him, and you can kind of see Moreno's tired in that fight. He was tired in the fight with Anthony Pettis. You know, the longer the thing goes, his ground game looked a little bit suspect there, and he's a BJJ black belt, but Mickey Gall's a BJJ black belt. This thing hits the ground, Mickey Gall gets on top. I think he's going to have a pretty solid chance. As far as stand-up goes, Mickey Gall's longer than him. He's got that. He's going to be able to maybe land the jab, but he's got a good right hand. You saw in his last fight against Williams. You know, he's able to land, he's able to hurt him, and then once the fight hits the ground, that's where his ground game takes over. So I thought he'd have a little more success standing, and I thought he'd be able to get this fight to the ground, but never had a chance, really. Morona backed him up. Morona did some excellent work. Mostly just every time Mickey would land, Morona would come back with 2-3 of his own. His output was solid. They kept mentioning about just bouncing on his toes. He was waiting for the takedown the entire time, and Mickey never really committed to that game plan. I don't know if he was worried about his cardio. I don't know if he was worried about, I just can't physically take this guy down, but his best path to victory was going to be grapple with him. Even though they're both black belts, hopefully grapple with him and be the better black belt. Standing up against Moreno, especially if he's got 15 minutes of cardio, is going to be a problem because he throws a lot of volume, and man, he's unorthodox. He's super quirky. Like, the stuff he throws, his jab, for example, right? It was 3 inches shorter than Mickey Gall's, but he steps into it, right? You hit him, he comes over the top with one of his own. Like, they call it going first and going third, right? You hit the guy first, he counters you back, you go third, right? Most guys, they go tat for tat. Like, he was just kind of on him the whole time. So Moreno did an excellent job of pressuring Gall around. I didn't think Gall looked terrible. I think you do see improvements out of him. But again, you're trying to learn and you're trying to develop on the grand stage of the UFC. This dude here just beat Donald Cerrone 2 fights back. You know, he was in a very competitive fight with Anthony Pettis, a former lightweight champion in the division. You know, you saw the Reese McKee fight, you know, 176 strikes landed. Like, at his best, Morono is a problem. And then to hear him take the microphone afterwards and talk about his dad and how much it meant to him and watching old fights on Spike with him, you know, I think that hit home for a lot of people, myself certainly anyways. And it was like, shit, you know, he had the mindset tonight too. Like, he was there to do a job, and he did the job quite well. So Alex Morono, I would say, is a gatekeeper. I don't think he's ever going to really break into that top 10, top 15. He might be a top 15 guy. I don't really see him having success in the top 10 of the division. Like, could you imagine a Khamzat Chimaev versus him? But you know what? Speaking of Khamzat Chimaev, give him Jingliang Li. Morono versus Li's a fun fight. Both guys like to bang standing. Both guys, I suppose Morono would have an advantage grappling, but is he going to take him down? His wrestling's pretty shit. Who knows? That's a fun fight. For Gall, meanwhile, you don't cut him. Again, you do see improvements out of him. His striking is getting better, in my opinion. His ground game is okay, and he has a bad gas tank, but this time around, it held up for him. He was stepping in the pocket and swinging with Morono. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get the job done and put him away. He's developing. It's that, what path do you put him on? One of them, you have to fight young debuting fighters. He needs to fight guys that are Contender Series veterans. He needs to fight guys that are lowly ranked. He needs to fight guys that have very little experience against higher up echelon competition in order for him to continue to mature and then eventually succeed. On the other hand, you're paying him way too much money. I don't know the exact figure, but considering he's had his entire career in the UFC, you're re-signing new contracts. Every time you win, the contract goes up. Now you get main card spots. You get on some pay-per-views here and there. You develop more of a brand. You're worth something. You renegotiate your contract. None of these guys go in and be like, shit, I'm 6-5 in the UFC. I'll tell you what, I'll take less money on this one. No, you're always trying to make more money. Even if you have a bad record, you're making more money. And I think they're not getting the return out of him. You can't beat any of the elite level guys. He can't even beat any of the top 15 guys. You can continue to feed him to, let's say you do give him the Contender Series guys. Oh, you won the Contender Series, you can fight Mickey Gall. You're on a 12-12, right? And he'd be on like a 40-40 by this point, 35-35 at the bare least. So what, he's going to make $70,000 potentially, and the other guy's going to make 24? No. They're going to cut him, and then they'll roll with the other guys. I don't think they cut him here, but the writing is on the wall. You could see him eventually get released, and there's a ton of promotions that would love to have him because he beat CM Punk. He has a name. He has a reputation. He fought in the UFC. He also beat Sage Northcutt. Also beat Mike Jackson. But not the Prince, the other one. Yeah, all right. So Alex Morono, Mickey Gall, not exactly a great read. And then things finally heat up because you can only keep a dog down for so long. Chris Curtis is one of these guys that will fight for our dollar. Again, he's a big underdog. I don't know why. We came into his UFC debut against Phil Hawes. We liked him in that spot. He's a banger, man. And I've tried to tell people this. Like, he's got good striking, very, very technical boxing, loves to work the body, works the body, works the body. It fatigues you. He's like a... You know, he's like an engine, right? You got to get warmed up, and then he just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So when he came out here in this first round with Brandon Allen, you saw a difference right away in size. Allen looked monstrous compared to Curtis, but that doesn't matter. We knew that was going to be the case. Phil Hawes was much bigger than him too. All good. The guy was, you know, I'm the matchmaker for Z Promotions Fight Night up in Alberta. He's our welterweight champ and our middleweight champ. He'll fight any middleweight you'll give him, but he's better at welterweight. And the dude has a fight this year against Jerome Thatch at 205 pounds, 205. Imagine Chris Curtis at 205. Doesn't even make sense. But he's a warrior, dude. When I first met him, he told me his entire pursuit of this game was to get into Valhalla. He's earned his spot. If he didn't earn it in the win against Phil Hawes, well, he certainly did earn it in this win over Brandon Allen. I thought he won the first round. He was landing a lot better punches. His jab was on full effect. I mean, he stands as a nice southpaw stance. I mean, he's really good at getting the jab through. And with Brandon Allen, he is hittable. He was hittable against Sean Soriano. Sorry, not Sean Soriano, against Puene Soriano. But when Puene gassed out, well, that's when Brandon Allen took over. Going back to the engine on Chris Curtis, he's not going to slow down. He's a 5-round fighter. He's fought in 5 rounds a bunch of times. And in fact, he's got the most 3rd and 4th round TKOs of anybody I've ever seen. He only continues to get better, and he does not go away. So he came out in this first round. He roasted the body. He landed the jab on full effect. Brandon Allen needed to wrestle more. He shot the first takedown. It was crazy. He just picked Chris Curtis up clean up in the air. I thought, shit, you know, I want Curtis's feet planted. I want him working his hips. He's got very, very strong hips, right? Up in the air, this is no good. But you saw as soon as he chucked Curtis to the ground, Curtis explodes and gets back up. He shot a secondary takedown attempt, and he got stuffed by a country mile. And that's when he realized, oh, shit, I'm fighting the action man. And he wasn't going to take down Chris Curtis. I know some people are sour grapes, and they said, well, Brandon Allen did it to himself. He should have wrestled more. It didn't fucking matter. He tried. You couldn't take him down. It wasn't going to get no better than that. Now you're forced to go to option B, which is stand with him. And by the way, he had your number. Not because of any time that they spent in the gym together, because one guy's 25 years old, okay, and is coming off a win over another fellow rookie, Soriano, and one guy's the action man. He's got 35 pro fights. He's a 34-year-old man. He trains at the best gym in the world with some of the best guys in the world. And I'm telling you, he's always in incredible shape. It didn't matter that he's on short notice. It didn't matter he's down a weight class. If you give him guys that are green and suspect, he's going to expose them. If you give him top challengers, well, then we're going to have to revisit who it is and what the style is. But Brandon Allen is still young in his career, and he's got holes in his game. He's far too hittable. His wrestling's not that good. When you look at Phil Haas, his whole game is a big glaring hole, right? He's extremely explosive, very athletic. On paper, has good wrestling. Is a junior college national champion. There's holes in his game. Action Man's my guy, but he is the quintessential gatekeeper because he is going to expose the guys that shouldn't be there. But I think he's a top 10 gatekeeper. I think you beat Action Man, you're legit. You don't beat Action Man, you're still probably pretty good, man. I mean, there's no shame in losing to Chris Curtis. He is the shit. But yeah, he is a rugged, stiff test. And they gave us +2. There's a +280 in the first fight against Phil Haas, and then you got +230 here. So you're never going to get that kind of price on Action Man ever again. But to those who were faithful, ye be rewarded. And yeah, that's definitely put a big smile on my face. I'm at a loss still on the night. We're coming down to Jose Aldo, break this thing even for me because Cop got the win. But that was cool. It was cool because I like the guy at a personal level. It was cool because you're always happy when you get the contrarian pick. Everyone's telling you the guy's going to lose and he wins, right? The next time you have some pick, and this goes to you at home, right? You tell someone this is who I got and they call you an idiot. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. And you could have 10 people call you an idiot because believe me, it happens. It doesn't matter. That's who you like. That's your guy. You did the tape study. It's in your gut. You go with it. It doesn't matter what other people say. You go with it. I got fucking crushed in a lot of these fights to this point. Action Man coming through as the underdog. We'll take that. Clay Guida versus Leo Santos. This is an alternate world type fight. If Mark Smith is reffing this, it's done on the body shots. If a lot of other referees are reffing this, it's done on the knee to the face. If Keith Peterson is reffing this, he dies. And unfortunately, Clay Guida didn't die. I don't think this was as egregious as everybody's saying. I know online people are pissed. My boy Ryan Donnelly, this fight cost an $18,000 parlay. So yes, in an alternate world, you got 6 of the other referees that are backstage reffing this one. You won, absolutely. And would have anybody have complained had he stopped him on the knee? No, I don't think so. I think it would have been, I think in my mind, it looked like a fair stoppage. However, the fact that he didn't stop it and the other guy came back and won, how can you be mad about that? All that means is that it shouldn't have been stopped. We believed it should have been stopped. If you had money on Santos, 100% you believe it should be stopped. But let me tell you something in real time, okay? I'm watching this fight. Santos digs him with it's like a toe stab. That's what we would call it, right? Shane Campbell's the fucking man at it, right? You toe stab the guy straight up to the body. It's like a front kick to the body. The toe digs in. It just basically shuts you down. So it shuts him down. He hits the deck. Now Santos pounces on it. Anybody's been hit with a bad body shot, especially a toe stab, your body shuts down. You know, you actually do crumble, and you can't. Your brain's telling you to move. Body just doesn't react to it. That's what happens to him. Clay Guida folds up and he's holding on, but his body's shutting down. He's not knocked out. He's not above recovering at this point. But Santos goes buck wild with shots to the side. It wasn't like it was a liver shot. Oh, it might have been the liver that was shutting down on him. Could have been, actually. But he's working his side. The shot that hit him was straight up the gut. His gut's killing him right now. Santos just goes buck wild with a million right hands, some defended, some partially defended, but no rhyme or reason. Okay, Clay Guida, he's been guillotine choked 3 of his last 5 losses, okay? Both of his hands are around his midsection. He's on all 4s, and his head's leaning forward. You're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. Why not snatch up the neck? He's on all 4s, turtled up. Why not take the back? No, this fucking idiot decided, I'm just going to release 65 unanswered punches to the body. Now, that's not the problem. Whatever. He thought he was going to get a body stop finish, so he starts just hammering recklessly to the body. It's a pace nobody can sustain. You know, watching in real time, that if he doesn't stop this fight, he's going to be gassed, because what human being can possibly throw 65 straight punches like that? But then this is my irk, and this is why I'm actually glad he lost, even though it cost us money, probably cost a lot of people money. People are going to be upset I said that. Glad he lost. He looks at the ref. to be like, stop this fight. He's telling Keith Peterson to do his job. That's a big no-no. As a pro fighter, you fight until the referee tells you to stop. When you get looking at the ref and you're like, hey, man, stop the fight. You're tired. You're tired. And you're hoping, I hope he stops this fight because I'm fucking running out of gas. He knew, this quitting bitch knew, oh, I hope this ref. So he's telling him, stop the fight, stop the fight. Keith doesn't. Clay gets back up. The first knee would have knocked him out unconscious, but it just missed. The second knee lands pretty okay, and he falls face forward. So now you can make an argument to stop the fight. He just took a shit kicking. His body's hurt. He took a shit kicking. He got back up. A knee's just dropped him. He falls face forward. Maybe now's the time to jump in. Herb, seeing the stoppage that he had later, Herb probably would have stopped it. Mark Smith 100% stops his fight. He's the worst referee in the game. Like, he stops his fight after they announced it in the red corner. In the blue corner, he'd be coming in for the stoppage. But when he drops him with the knee, this is a chance maybe to get the stoppage. But he's gassed by then. So again, Clay gets hit by the knee and falls face forward. Grab the guillotine. His neck's right there. Take his back. He was gassed. So now he pitter-patters him with a couple shots that aren't doing nothing, and then Clay gets back up. And then this is why it wouldn't have been a good stoppage, okay? Clay gets back up. Did Clay look hurt when he got back up? Did he look wobbled? Did he look like, no, he looked like he just started the fight. His cardio was on point. He had no visible damage. In fact, he easily won the last 2 minutes of that first round. Santos is a bum. They should cut him. I shouldn't say he's a bum. He's 41 years old. The game's passed him by. Simple as that. Simple as that. His striking actually looked good in that first round. Toe jab from a BJJ champion, that was nasty. You know, some of those body shots, okay. The knee straight up the middle, that was dope. He's got a knockout win over Kevin Lee, you know, folded him with the right hand. That's no easy work. You've seen some good striking out of him in the past. He does have that BJJ World Championship. But at this point in the game, he had 3 minutes of cardio. He had no ground game. Clay Guida shot himself into, it's a sloppy double leg against the cage. His neck's right there. He didn't even attempt the guillotine, a move that notoriously works very well on Clay. Clay takes him down. He roughhouses him. Second round came out. This guy's gas. It's just a matter of time. But what I didn't see coming was he was going to quit. You know, you're tired. You're tired, you get TKO'd. And in this case, he probably would have gotten TKO'd, but Clay said, I want the choke. Clay took his back. I didn't actually think it was a great idea in real time. Geez, this guy's such a good jiu-jitsu guy. He's going to use this as a moment to recover. He's going to hand fight. You know, he's not going to rear naked choke. Let's be real. But he was so tired, he completely blew his load in 3 minutes, begging Keith Peterson, Keith, stop the fight. No, man, you're a fighter. Fight. Don't tell Keith how to do his job. Was it a bad stoppage? Yeah, maybe. But if this is the jungle, you know what would have happened? Clay Guida would have choked your motherfucking ass out, and he would have left that jungle with the last coconut in the tree, drinking coconut milk, fresh coconut milk, while you were dead, okay? So fight until the referee pulls you off or until the guy's incapacitated. It's as simple as that. He has nobody to blame but himself. Poor performance from Leo Santos. However, in a different universe, first round TKO, Clay is a bum. Clay needs to hang it up. He just got knocked out in the first round by Leo Santos. Santos decent for a 41-year-old dude. This guy's actually making a run. Universes, dude. Universes. That's bounces. That's bounces. You can't be mad one way. You can't be mad the other way. Shit gonna happen. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Jamal Hill versus Jimmy Crute. This is another one I kind of let people get in my head a little bit. I liked Hill. I liked Hill on a striking perspective. But again, Paul and I talked about it on the show. The fight stays standing. Hill's going to take his lunch money. I mean, he's 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. You just saw how mightily Jimmy Crute fared against Smith, right? When he fought Smith his last time out, Smith just nails him with a jab over and over again. Smith wobbled him 3 times with jabs. Now, when you look at Anthony Smith, I think he has a 76-inch reach, 77-inch reach. He's given up 2 or 3 inches to Jamal Hill in the reach department. And Hill's got a nasty jab of his own. You know, excellent southpaw stance, beautiful left kick to the body. This guy's a problem standing. What we don't know is how good his ground game is, because Paul Craig pulled guard and submitted him. And officially, Jamal Hill is a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jimmy Crute's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jimmy Crute's, you know, Kimura over Michael Alexichek. It's just like, you know, this guy's got a good ground game. Even his own fight with Paul Craig, you know, back and forth with sweep after sweep and submission attempt after submission attempt, and he finally nails up a Kimura. Like, this guy's got an excellent grappling game, and he loves to attack the arm, specifically something that Jamal Hill just had his arm broke and said he didn't go to the gym for 6 weeks after the fight because his arm is that in a bad shape, like had to rehab it, take him to the ground and attack him. And so for that reason, I got gun shy. I got cold feet. I was like, you know what? Jimmy Crute would have to be an idiot to not take him down, right? And if he does take him down, we could have some serious problems. If the fight stays standing, Hill all day. It's just, I don't know. But Jimmy Crute's shown low ring IQ in prior fights. The Smith fight's an excellent example where he just didn't shoot the takedown. He did this to himself. But this is a great fight for Hill. He moves on. He wants to fight Paulo Costa, and I think he deserves it. Great fight. Hook me up. This guy's a top 10 lightweight as far as light heavyweight as far as I'm concerned. Got a lot to offer. He's got a fun style. He's got big power. He's only getting better. He's still young-ish. I think he's 30 years old, but considering that was his 10th pro fight, he's just going to keep getting better and better. Jimmy Crute's the problem. Jimmy's young, so he's still getting better. He still does have a good skill set, so that could be okay. And it was just a bad ring IQ. Ring IQ is something you can improve on. Your coach is going to eventually get you to just go out there and shoot that takedown. The problem is his chin. I don't think this guy's very durable. Again, when you look at the Smith fight, he's getting dropped by jabs, like noticeably head snap back, wobbled off jabs. And you just credit to Anthony Smith has an excellent jab. The commentary team are jizzing in their pants. They're like, oh, that jab. Joe Rogan's, oh, that jab, man. Like, maybe it's just Smith's jab. Hill goes out there and it's the same shit, man. Like these shots that most guys at this division and this, caliber are going to have to walk through in order to make something happen. Seriously, just get his attention and wobble. And then the way he got knocked out, the right hook, like he's going to be in for he's 24 years old, right? So if he fights for another 10 years, how many more times is he going to get knocked out? If he averages 3 fights a year, he's getting wobbled. He's getting his head snapped back on light punches that you're going to have to eat on a single entry. It's not going to get in. Even though he is young, he's never going to be elite, I don't think. And he could change his game. Again, I could be way off on this, but I think some guys are gifted with durability and it takes them really far. And some guys just don't got that durability and it becomes a serious problem. I'm thinking his is the serious problem. Now, I understand last time out against Anthony Smith, it wasn't like he got knocked out. It was a leg injury, right? Oh, man, he hurt his leg. But that's all part of the package, right? That's part of the Sean O'Malley, right? Sean O'Malley, chinny, I don't know. I mean, those elbows from Marlon Vera rocked his shit pretty good, but his legs gimpy, right? And that's always going to be a problem going forward. I'm not saying Jimmy Crute's legs always going to be a problem, but it's seemingly always something, right? The Paul Craig fight, his cardio was awful. And this fight, his chin's no good. Even though it's Hill and Hill hits like a badass, it was the shots that were hurting him. Hill doesn't load up on shots. He touches and goes. Smith wasn't attempting to load up on his shots. He was looking to touch with the right hand or the left hand, the jab, maybe setting up a power shot. You don't even need power shots. They're seriously rocking him. So I don't know who they'll give him next, but the idea of bidding Jimmy Crute is going to be greasy going forward, I think. Even though he's super talented, I think his durability has failed him. And for Hill, sweet win, man. Sweet win. He moves on. Sky's the limit for that kid. Rafael Fiziev versus Brad Riddell. I mean, yeah, on the wrong side of this one. I'm sold on Riddell. I think Riddell is a smooth operator. Unfortunately, power has to be said for something in this game. And again, how do you make the complete fighter? How do you make the perfect fighter? Well, the guy's got to have cardio. Okay, perfect. He needs cardio. He needs to be able to wrestle. He needs to be able to strike. And when you have all the intent, like all the basics, and you have the advanced basics, it's like, what are your X factors? What are the X factors? And this one actually ended up being like Fiziev, and we'll talk about Aldo as the main event, but Fiziev and Aldo, in many ways, very similar in their victories against Font and Riddell. Font and Riddell did excellent work, man. They had good volume. They were setting up punches. They were throwing combination work. The other guy hits too damn hard. So it doesn't matter if you're landing 2 or 3 good punches, which Riddell was landing excellent punches, I thought. I mean, he was a little bit nervous about closing the distance because he knew he would just get met with the big kick every single time. But he got through with a couple nice shots. The jab was on point. He would change levels. He'd come over the top of the right. He landed some nasty right hands. Fiziev's got a hell of a chin on him. It's the power. And that's what you remember. And Fiziev he has way too much power. You're just running into a burning building every time. And if you stay on the outside, he's still going to come at you. He's still going to kick. But coming at him is just like a losing endeavor. And I think Brad Riddell's at the top of his game. Physically, he looked in great shape. I understand he was on record talking about some of the problems they've had in New Zealand with training camps and putting things together. And, maybe that had his timing off. Maybe that had his rhythm off. I don't think it mattered. I think he gave an excellent account of himself, and he was going in there with an absolute crocodile, man. Like if you approached him, he just snapped down on you. If you didn't approach him, it was a hot summer day and he had enough speed to just come at you. That's exactly what Fiziev did. If he can go that kind of pace for 25 minutes, he's definitely a title challenger. He's definitely going to be in the mix. I think if you gave him a Justin Gaethje, what does Justin Gaethje do to him, right? Does Justin Gaethje bite down on his mouthpiece, come straight at him? It's going to hurt a lot. Do you stay at distance? No, Justin Gaethje doesn't do that. Anybody you give him, a Cater could be fun. No, I guess Cater's a 45er. No, there's a lot of fun fights you could give him. I just don't know who's going to sign the contract in good faith. What I saw yesterday was the Terminator. I learned my lesson. I'm still a Brad Riddell guy. I still love to bet Brad Riddell. Hopefully we get him on a good price because he just got a highlight reel KO against him here. But all the same, I think my days of betting against or even questioning Rafael Fiziev are long since gone. I was sold on him when he came to the UFC. He got that stupid wheel kick in the face against Magomed Mustafayev. That, for whatever reason, reeled me off him a bit. The Bobby Green fight was actually another example of he got outstruck in all 3 rounds by the volume. But by the power, man, there's very few guys can generate what this guy's bringing to the table. And if he continues to get better at Sanford MMA, his hips look unbelievably strong. So taking him down is going to be a problem. Like he's a factor. He's 100% a factor. So give him the best guys you got. Cannot wait to see it. Brad Riddell will be back, but is he elite? Is he a top 5 guy? As long as he doesn't have to fight Rafael Fiziev again, it's potential, possible. But he had a really tight fight against Drew Dober, who's a top 10 guy, probably at best a top 10 guy, and then see him get smoked out here by Rafael Fiziev. I thought he lost the 2 rounds prior to the third, and then, a spinning wheel kick to the face. Just that beautiful cherry on top. So Rafael Fiziev's man, lesson learned. What can you do? Jose Aldo, we knew it was going to come down to Jose Aldo. The plan was to hedge. The plan was, is Jose Aldo really our second most confident guy on the entire card? Maybe not. We definitely think he's going to win. We think this value at plus 125 is just too good to pass away. But we also have set this up for the hedge. Something I am known to do as an option I'm willing to take. Had Menefield gotten that decision, we're looking at a 2-1 at the top. We're looking at a 6-1 on the second level. Not bad. Had Menefield gotten that decision, the fucking Bellator parlay was a 6-fight parlay. Top 3 guys from Bellator hit were mixed up with the top 3 guys that we had from the UFC. It would have also hit. So a Menefield decision would have actually changed everything and probably leads to a potential hedge out. The payout would have been good. You know what? I don't disrespect Rob Font the slightest bit. I would have taken that hedge out. Unfortunately, judges don't agree. Thick Willie gets the 3rd round. I'm in a do or die situation. So I guess I always say, like, I don't feel the need to explain this because people watch my stuff, but I get a lot of new fans, and so I get a lot of the same questions on Twitter all the time. And what I'm noticing is on a night like last night, everyone's saying, this is the worst night of the year. They're saying it's my worst night of the year. We got absolutely crushed. We got killed. We got decimated. I'm very firm on if there's 12 fights on the card and you went 4-8, right? Those are the messages I would receive. I'm a bum. This is terrible. But if you went 4-8, your top 2 tickets hit. You hit your top line. You hit your second line. Well, it's a good night. It doesn't matter that you got the other 8 wrong. Listen, some guys only release 3 plays. Oh, here's this play, this play, and this play. Well, what about the other 10 guys? Well, no, they don't even say nothing, so it doesn't matter how those ones go. That's not my game. I release full fight cards or full fight plays. I'll let you know what I think about every fight. A Brian Barberena versus a Darian Weeks. Do I even want any exposure to that? But I do. I give you the thoughts on everything, and we play everything. It's just what it is. So you're going to get picks wrong. It's going to happen. But it's all about getting your order right. Now, if you got $100 for the whole card, you say, I'm a $100 bet. Okay, some people call it a unit. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Let's just say you sit down on a Saturday night, you have $100. You want to bet this show, and you want to tell me specifically on the show. Well, I always say, put at least half on your top ticket. In this case, you would have put $50 on your top ticket. Then you're going to put $25 on the second ticket. Then you're going to put $10 on the third ticket. $5 on the fourth ticket. You go down. If the PRP hits, yeah, you only got $1 on it. Some people put 50 cents. It was like $1,000,001. So $1 is still really all you need. You don't need to have some big bet on the PRP. You don't have to have some big bet on Mackie Patolo. People are messaging me. One guy messaged me, my night's over. I'm going to put a movie on Mackie Patolo loss. Are you fucking out of it, man? Are you not a fight fan? You don't want to watch Chris Curtis? You don't want to watch Jose Aldo? You don't want to watch Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fiziev? Your night's over because Mackie Patolo lost? You're not a fight fan, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You're a degenerate gambler, and that's fine. Watch the football game. Watch the tennis match. Watch the Japanese versus Team Korea women's handball game at 3 a.m. I've done it. But I'm saying if Makapitolo ruined your night, whatever. That's not on me. That's on you. We're trying to get the top ticket. And in this case, you put your $50 on the top ticket and it hits a plus 204. Well, then you broke even. If we would have gotten that Menafield win on the second one, then you got 2 tickets to hit. You're good. But it's all about the top ticket needs to hit and you can break even. My props were dog shit, so it was still a small loss for me on that regard. But as far as the parlays go, that's how it's set up. You're not betting them all the same. Some people say, oh, I'll put $100 on every one. Like, what? If I have to explain that to you, whatever. The reason why I don't say this is the amount you put down, this is the unit size you put down, is that's your choice, right? My choice is these are the guys we're going with. My choice is whatever I'm betting. I was told by a couple guys, stop putting shit. 2 accountants actually reached out. They're like, stop putting plays, not like tickets. Don't put tickets. And I respect their advice. So I'm not putting tickets out. I'm not trying to brag when it's some big win. Here you go. I did it with the 160,000. That was a milestone thing for me. I haven't put out anything since then, right? We hit, not a PRP, but we hit the 100 to 1 after that. I don't care to put out winning tickets anymore. I don't care to put out losing tickets. All I'm telling you is these are the plays. These are the way. This is what I'm going with. This is who I like. The decision on what you want to bet is yours. Some people bet $10. That's fine. Some people bet $1,000. That's fine. Some people bet $10,000. That's that fine. But I'm not doing all the work. Half of it's your job, and that's how you play it out. Coming out on this main event, I knew we needed Jose Aldo. My plan was to hedge and guarantee some money. Didn't work out that way. This is the last thing we got left. If Jose loses, this is my worst night. If Jose loses, people are right. This was my fucking destroyed. This is a bad night. But the hedge out opportunity is no longer on the table. We have to let it ride. And so we put out Jose Aldo. And the first 4 minutes of the fight, I think we're in trouble. I mean, Rob Font is on him like white on rice. I mean, his jab is just on point. He's moving him back, something I didn't really see. It's hard to move Jose Aldo backwards, right? I mean, Font just came in, footwork slick. I mean, he's landing, he's backing him up. He's having a ton of success. This is not going our way, and you get that sinking gut feeling that it's like, I'm about to take a bath on this one. People are going to be upset. I don't like when people are upset and people lose money online, but for my own personal finances, yeah, I get that gut sinking feeling I'm about to get fucking crushed here. And then, boom, Jose Aldo still got that power, baby. Talking about Fiziev versus Riddell. Riddell obviously didn't have nearly as much success as Rob Font did, but it just goes back to the you could be getting outpointed. It's the shot that matters. It's the shot that lands that the judges are going to see. And him dropping Font at the end of the first round, in my eyes, because it's a 10-9 must system, the 10 goes to Jose Aldo, the 9 goes to Rob Font. But there is a good argument for why a 10-10 would, in theory, exist. One guy kicks your ass for 4 minutes of the round, 4.5 minutes of the round. He gets caught late, doesn't get knocked out, but does get caught late. It's the most meaningful punch. It's the most impactful shot. It's the moment of the round. But does that not make a 10-10 round? Could I have not at least got a 10-10 round at a Menafield night? Nothing happened either side in the third round. Like, could I at least not get a fucking draw? No. And so this case, you got to go 10 one side. I did give it to Jose Aldo because of the knockdown. 2, 3, 4, it's much of the same. Like, Font had great volume. I think they said afterwards, it's like the first time in history, the guy that won 50-45, clean sweep across the board, got outstruck in all the rounds. Like, it was a striking differential of like 89. Font had volume. The problem is that Aldo's cast iron, dude. He's been hit by the best guys in the world. He's still got something left in the tank. And whenever Font would hit him, I mean, he took his best shots and he returned fire. And his guns were just a lot heavier. The leg kick looked vintage at times. I mean, he would hit Rob Font and it was causing a lot of problems. It's causing him to be a lot more stationary. It was the boxing, though. He would hit Font, Font would go down. Even though he wasn't getting knocked out, getting rocked like that, the body language, it just looks bad. You knew the judges were going to give it to him. Now, even this is turning back the clock. This is vintage Jose Aldo. People will say, well, he gassed out down the stretch, but that's why it's vintage Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo always gasses out down the stretch. He did it against Holloway, but you can argue damage there. He did it against Peter Yan, but you can argue damage there. He used to do it back in the day. He fought Mark Hominick one time in Toronto and lost the 5th round against Hominick in a fight that he was otherwise he won the first 4 rounds, and Hominick had a head growing out of his own head, hematoma. It was like, what? He lost the 5th round to Mark Hominick. He's always had bad cardio. He's always not been a 5-round guy, but he's always been world championship. He's up 3 rounds going into 4th and 5th. He can win a 4th round all day long, and you need to finish him in the 5th. Good luck. Jose Aldo is, he's one of the featherweight goats. He's actually had, in my opinion, had a better career than Conor McGregor. I say that because Conor did knock him out in 12 seconds. Conor went on and had some big high-profile fights. Conor made a ton of money. He has a huge fan base. He's set for life, no doubt about it. But one guy put in the real work. You know, Jose Aldo won the WEC champ. He took on all comers. He came to the UFC. He's the first featherweight champ. He took on all comers, weak comers. It was a not very weak comers. That sounded dirty. Not exactly the highest echelon guys that he was fighting for a lot of the title defenses, I didn't think. But even after he loses the title, he continues to fight the best guys out there. He moves down to 135, challenges for a title again, continues to fight the best guys out there. And even as an advanced age, Conor's what, 32 years old, he can't buy a win. And Jose Aldo, even as starting to get to his mid-30s, bad weight cut. Everyone's saying, oh, he looks so bad at the weigh-ins and this and that. It's a terrible weight cut. He's older now, and he can't. This is a 5-round fight against Font. You know, he's not going to be able to fight hard into it. He's still beating a top challenger like Rob Font. He still beat a top guy like Pedro Munoz. That one was a head turner for me. I mean, he kicked Pedro Munoz's ass. He still beat Marlon Vera, who's quickly rising the ranks to becoming, one of the top guys in the division. Jose Aldo's not taking any easy fights. So as far as guys that have fought, well, I guess now he's making a legacy at 135 pounds. Doesn't matter if you classify him as one of the best featherweights, better bantamweight. Jose Aldo is one of the best fighters of our generation, of the last 20 years, really. I mean, he's had a career that spanned 2 decades, couple decades, and he's had a lot of success throughout. And to give you a plus 125 price tag on a guy like that, it almost just feels like this old dog's got way too much back class. Happens in horse racing all the time. You'll see, geez, this horse is it's a field of 4- and 5-year-olds, and they're racing good. And geez, there's a 9-year-old horse in this race. He's 9. He's taking on these young heavy getters, but it's like, well, he's made $1 million. He made. When he was that age, he would have pissed right on these things and win by 5 legs. He would have bought open legs when he was a kid. But now he's older. Now he needs a trip. He's not going to win every week, and he needs the right cars to fall in place, but he's got the back class. He's a classy motherfucker. This guy's a stallion. He is a stud colt. He is a classy motherfucker. And he saved the ticket. So on a night like that, I would take a break even on the parlays for sure. We're going to have to rally up. We're going to have to lick our wounds. We're going to have to move on to the next one. Again, I'm not disappointed. I really thought if we get the Menafield win, we win. It's a great night, but it was a close enough fight that I'm not sour. You can't be sour either side. You just got to lick the wounds, move on to the next one. So hopefully we can have a better output and get some better results. Until then, fights were definitely fun. Can't be upset about that. And if you turn them off after Maki Patola lost, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Till the next time, I'll catch you guys later. Best of luck. Hopefully you came out unscathed, or hopefully you won money. Hopefully you won money. Best case scenario, you came unscathed. If you lost a little bit, shit does happen. And again, hopefully we can right the ship the next time out. Best of luck to everyone. I'll catch you guys next time.